In this episode of MBT's Manufacturing Newswire, Remaking American Security, Amazon eyes the smartphone market and a blow to the nation's labor unions.
We'll also update you on Windows Blue, take a brief look at the uncertainty in U.S. manufacturing, and the liability surrounding 3D printed guns. Welcome, we're your hosts, Anna Wells.
And I'm John Minnick. In a recent video on American manufacturing, the Alliance for American Manufacturing President Scott Paul discusses Remaking American Security, a report researched and published by Brigadier General John Adams. The report provides a look at 14 different types of defense products, everything from rare earth materials to rocket propellant, giving a broad view of U.S. defense needs. The most important part of the report consists of 10 recommendations on how to remake American security by bringing more of this type of production back to the U.S. and in turn create more U.S. jobs through manufacturing.
Amazon is reportedly working on 2 smartphones, including one that would have 3D capability. The Wall Street Journal reported that Amazon is developing a device that features a 3D screen that can be used without special glasses. The journal wrote that the phone would use retina tracking technology that would make the images seem to be floating like a hologram and appear three-dimensional at all angles. What's more, users might be able to navigate through content just using their eyes.
In another blow to the nation's dwindling labor unions, an appeals court struck down a federal rule that would have required millions of businesses to put up posters informing workers of their right to form a union. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit said the National Labor Relations Board violated employers' free speech rights in trying to force them to display the posters or face charges of committing an unfair labor practice. Unions had hoped the posters would help them boost falling membership, but business groups argued that they were too one-sided in favor of unionization.
In an update to our story on Microsoft Windows, the company has been listening to the complaints about Windows 8 and plans to do something about them. The company officially announced work on Windows Blue, an update to Windows 8 that will improve and add a host of features to the operating system. Blue will continue with the general Windows 8 design and maintain the same look and feel as the current software. The main change with Blue will address customer feedback and some confusing aspects of the interface, including the possibility of the Start button returning. Windows Blue will be out before the end of the year. iPad users with pacemakers should be on alert because your iPad smart cover could switch off a pacemaker. A science fair project including 26 participants found that 30% of the time the magnets cause the devices to stop working. While the small magnets are relatively weak, they still seem to be able to interfere with the defibrillators. If a patient with a pacemaker were to fall asleep with an iPad smart cover on their chest, for instance, the defibrillator could be switched off. The project has since gained attention from the medical community, and findings will be reported to 8,000 doctors at a Heart Rhythm Society meeting in Denver.
Despite the economic slowdown, the U.S. is still the world's leader in manufacturing, yet the industry has remained stagnant during the recession. So what's holding it back? In a recent Comcast Newsmakers interview with Representative Billy Long of Missouri, the congressman attributes the stagnation to the continued uncertainty in tax policy and the unknown cost of healthcare to businesses. The good news, though, is that these uncertainties are starting to subside as more American companies are reshoring operations, overseas companies look to establish new U.S. factories, and committees in Congress continue to consider bills to help boost U.S. manufacturing jobs. And finally, with the announcement that a handgun made from a 3D printer fired successfully, 3D manufacturers may soon find themselves in a gray area when it comes to liability. Designs for the Liberator plastic pistol have been downloaded more than 100,000 times already, before the U.S. government requested that the designs be taken down for fear that they may violate arms exporting laws.
The Liberator plastic pistol uses just one metal piece included to make it visible to metal detectors in order to avoid violating a federal law set to expire at the end of this year. All of this puts manufacturers of 3D printed materials in a gray area from a legal standpoint. Questions arise like whether manufacturers would be bound to turn in a suspicious customer, for example, or what the liability repercussions are if a 3D manufactured component were to fail. When you think about how successful smokers have been with suing tobacco companies, this gray area should be a concern for manufacturers. That's it for this episode. Check out the site daily for news, videos, blogs, and articles, and to sign up for our newsletter.
Also be sure to follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and join the conversation on LinkedIn. Thank you for tuning in.